Good evening. It is 6:31 p.m. We'll call this meeting to order. Notice is hereby given. Hold on, somebody wants in. Given that a regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Sandy Oaks, Texas will be held on Thursday, September 23rd, 2021 at 6:30 p.m. at 22870 Priest Road, Sandy Oaks, Texas, and by telephonic video conferencing, which will be live streamed and accessible to the public as provided below for the purpose of considering the following agenda items. All agenda items are subject to action. The City of Sandy Oaks will also provide a live stream video and telephonic access to the meeting through the links that are provided on the agenda, which can be found on the city website. The public will be permitted to offer public comments telephonically or by audio as provided by the agenda, or in person, should they choose to attend, and as permitted by the presiding officer during the meeting by signing up with the city secretary at least 2 hours in advance of the meeting by emailing cityclerk@cityofsandyoaks.com or by calling 210-607-0834. Written comments can be submitted. Written comments may be submitted to the city secretary up to 2 hours before the meeting by emailing the city clerk and will be provided to the city council for their consideration. A recording of the telephonic meeting will be made and will be available to the public in accordance with the Texas Public Information Act upon request. Ms. Raid, can we get a quorum call, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Fillinger,
Here.
Alderman Bricken,
Here.
Alderman Rapino,
Here.
Alderman Crickmer,
Here.
Alderwoman Puente is on her way,
Okay,
and we have a quorum present, Mayor Ball.
thank you. Okay, let's stand for Pledge of Allegiance, please. John, would you mind moving that a little? Oh, you got to do all of it, all the way down. There you go. They moved it in for a reason. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we'll move on to item number 3, citizens to be heard. Ms. Ray, did we have any citizens to be heard? Okay, we'll move on then to, where do we want to go?
You have announcements?
I do have a couple of announcements. One is that I heard on the news today that those who are looking for a Pfizer booster, those have been announced. They'll be available at Avenue of the America or Mall of the Americas. I do not know if you have to make an appointment. I'm assuming you do, but those are just, that was approved today. So if you got the Pfizer and are eligible for the booster, then you probably should consider getting one. Have not heard anything about the Moderna vaccine. Another item that I'm aware of is the ARPA funds. I was able to submit a revised submission, and so we are expecting an additional $300,000. So we're back up into the $1.2 million that we're expecting to get. So we'll start working earnestly now to develop the plans for how we're going to address those funds. And that's all I have on that. Let's go ahead and do the consent agenda. Item number 5, all matters listed under consent agenda are considered routine by the City Council of the City of Sandy Oaks and will be enacted by one motion. There will not be separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. We only have one item, which is to approve the minutes from the September 9th, 2021 regular City Council meeting.
I move the consent agenda as presented. Second.
Wait, you move what?
Move the consent agenda as presented.
Approved. We have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Fillinger and a second by Alderman Bricken to approve the consent agenda as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right,
Any opposed? Okay, that was unanimous.
Two fives,
Pardon?
2 5s.
Oh, well, I can't help that. We will move on to the second number 5, which is the police department, updates and announcements from Chief Lopez. He has none and he is not here. We can go ahead and move on to item 6, animal control. Nope, can't do that one. Let's do, and what I'm doing to our guests that are on the phone, we have one older person who is running a little behind and probably be here in the next couple of minutes. So I'm trying to clear out some of the other items so that she can be here for this discussion. Let's move to number 7, Public Works and Parks. One item, update and announcements from Park Advisory Committee Chair Tom Rapina with a possible discussion and or action.
Okay, the Parks Committee will meet the first Tuesday of October. And we'll be discussing some items that have been of long standing. One of getting some items like the butterfly garden set up to be worked on, and also the bench behind the backstop on the baseball field. We're also discussing how we may hopefully use some of the ARPA funds to fix up some of the areas in the park, like the playground area, maybe getting a shade or fixing the turf in there, and or maybe some other areas like the exercise equipment.
Right.
And also we also are talking about how to maybe structure the monthly. I'm not sure what we call it now, whether it's the
community yard sale.
yeah the
Oh,
art
yeah,
sale, yeah, and also there are some mechanisms going on with, or machinations going on with how we distribute food, and we're still trying to locate an acceptable refrigerator for the community center. And there are other things, but I'll leave it at that.
That's a lot that you got
Yeah.
going on with the Park Committee.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir. I'm going to go ahead and move to item 8. Let's see which one. Oh, let's move to 8A. I'm going to pull that item. I did have a discussion with the engineer and they're not quite ready for prime time on this one, so we'll catch them on the next meeting. Let's move on to item 8F. Discuss and or possible action regarding vacancy on the City of Sandy Oaks Planning and Zoning Commission. We've had a vacancy for quite a while on that commission, and there's been an instance where we were not able to have a quorum to conduct a meeting. So I've done a little research. I would like to make a nomination to fill that vacancy. And I would like to nominate James Ellis to fill the vacancy for the Planning and Zoning Commission. I will turn it over to council for any action on that recommendation.
Let's see.
He is, he's on our Citizen Complaint Review Board.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he lives out here, and he and his family have been involved in a number of things
Okay.
here in the city.
That sounds fine.
Yeah,
So what do we need to,
I just need a motion to,
I'll make a motion. Tell me what the words are. Make a motion.
hold on just a minute.
Term expires, he would serve the unexpired term. So whenever, so that wording would be included in. the
Got it.
motion.
So you can make a nomination, or you can make a motion to accept the nomination to fill the unexpired term.
I make a motion to fill the unexpired term on the Sandy Oaks Planning and Zoning Commission.
For,
Mr. James Ellis.
I'll second that.
okay, so we have a motion by Alderman Bricken and a second by Alderman Rapino to accept the nomination of James Ellis to the unexpired term on the Planning and Zoning Commission. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, that motion was unanimous. One item, Ms. Ortiz, that I think we need to address relative to that is in reading on the planning and zoning, I don't believe he can serve in any other capacity, but I don't know if the CCRB is one of those. So if he cannot serve on CCRB, then we would get a resignation letter from him for that. And then we would have a vacancy on that.
No, he may serve simultaneously on any other city board or commission except for council or. Board
Except for
Adjustment.
council.
So
Perfect.
it's board of adjustment.
So he can maintain that. Okay, perfect. Okay, we can go ahead and move on to 8G. Discuss and or possible action on resignation of Animal Control Officer Christopher Maldonado. He did submit a letter of resignation, and so check this. Yes, so you each did get that. Okay. So if,
I'd make a motion that we accept Chris Maldonado's resignation as animal control officer.
I'll second.
okay, so we have a motion by Alderman Crickmer and a second by Alderman Rapino to accept the resignation of Animal Control Officer Christopher Maldonado. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that is unanimous. While we're on that subject, let's go ahead and do H, which is discussing our possible action to reconsider council's action made at the September 9th, 2021 regular meeting regarding job posting for animal control officer and possible action to the job posting for the ACO. So if you recall at the prior meeting, the council opted to go ahead and post the job ad for that position with a 30-day window. There was some discussion in light of the resignation letter that was received that perhaps we can relook at that item and maybe change the dates for consideration for posting and for replacement. So I'd like to turn that over to Alderman Fillinger, our Mayor Pro Tem Fillinger, sorry, and let you kind of lead that discussion if you don't mind.
I didn't bring my calendar, so I don't know.
We have calendars on our phone, so hold on. I know our next meeting is the 14th. And today is the 23rd. So we have 1, 2. If we did applications or resumes by Monday, the 11th, close of business, then we would have them in time for the 14th.
Okay, I thought we had agreed that the deadline would be Tuesday, the 11th, to close of business.
Tuesday? There's no
Wait a
Tuesday, the
minute.
11th,
The
October
12th, I'm sorry.
the 12th.
No,
The 11th of the holiday.
Yeah, I see that, Columbus Day. So you want to leave it at that?
yeah.
Okay.
If we have it by the 12th, we'll have time to disseminate and consider them.
Okay. So I'll just pull this item from the agenda. I'm gonna make a notation at 6:45 PM. Alderwoman Puente has arrived. Welcome, ma'am. We just did a little bit of quick stuff.
Yeah, I figured. I came right on time then. Time to
You missed the whole meeting. I started at 9.
Not true.
Get on the radio. Oh, I thought I'm an elected official.
Of course you would.
Okay, so we do have guests that are here. One of the items that we have on the agenda has to do with item 8B on the agenda, which is discuss and a possible action on RFPs for solid waste collection, disposal, and recycling services received and selection of a contractor. So we did receive 2 bids, which is interesting because I think, Charlotte, did we not have 4 or 5 different companies reach out to us for a copy, but we only had 2 submit?
I think I only had one other one reach out for last time.
Okay. So I think what I'd like to do is Ryan, is it Ryan Schuyler? Is that
Yes,
correct?
ma'am. You said it correctly. Thank you.
Welcome. So I
Thank you.
think I'd like to start with your proposal, if you don't mind, and I'll let you kind of introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what your company does, and then we'll let the council members ask questions if they have any.
Of course. And again, I appreciate you guys allowing me to take a couple minutes to talk about my company and myself before we discuss the bid. I'm with Waste Connections. We've been incorporated and around since 1997. Waste Connections is the 3rd largest solid waste provider and recycling provider in North America, but we're also decentralized in districts. And I run one such district here in San Antonio Hauling. We service 2,700 commercial customers and 15,000 residential customers in the San Antonio market. I myself have been with Waste Connections for almost 11 years now, and I've been in the San Antonio market for 3 years. We chose Sandy Oaks to bid on because your town is close to our yard. You're less than 20 minutes away from our facility. We can dedicate a brand new 2021 ASL side load truck to your city. We can dedicate a driver 3 or 4 days a week, depending on the option you select. And we're interested in partnering with Sandy Oaks and being a provider for you guys. I'm the primary contact for my hauling site. I've been so for the last 3 years, and I would continue to be the main contact for Sandy Oaks. So you would always have a direct contact with our yard in addition to our customer service team. So I don't want to rant too long. I know you folks probably have some questions, and I'd hope I explain as much as I could in the RFP. But thank you, Mayor Ball, for allowing me to talk about myself and my company for a couple minutes.
Thank you, Brian. I appreciate that. So I personally put together a little comparison on the bids. There were some things, well, one of the things that you did that we've not had before was you put an option in for a 10-year agreement. That's interesting. The rates didn't vary that much between the 5 and the 10-year. So I do appreciate the extra effort on that. You mentioned that you have a driver that you would dedicate out here for that.
Yes, ma'am. It would be the same driver for trash and for recycling. It would obviously be on alternating days. But it would be the same driver, the same truck every day for service. And he would check in with the city every single day to ensure that there was no complaints, no missed pickups, anything like that. I am aware that the city right now is serviced all on one day, which we considered that as well, but we wanted the multiple day option so we can ensure that if we did have a complaint, if we did have an issue, we were always going to have a boots on the ground available to fix any problems every day.
I have a question.
Yes, sir. Go
Are
ahead.
we compatible with a side load truck? With,
Our neighbor,
curb and gutter, we just have bar ditches and asphalt to caliche.
We have no curb.
No, yeah, I drove through the town a couple weeks ago just to check out how services were rendered, and I saw carts, I saw bundles, I saw personal carts out, but the streets are fine. Even gravel or caliche roads, we can handle that as well. Our entire residential footprint up in the Bernie, Kerrville, and Ingram area, a lot of those areas are gravel dirt roads, and we send our side loads up and down them with no problem.
You have someone load them, or is it all automated? You have a
Yeah,
load-
it is all automated for recycling and for trash, except for obviously the bulk pickup. We will send rear load trucks in there for that when we do the bulk pickup. The brush pickup, we can actually do either rear load, or we have a claw truck. We can actually take larger amounts of brush. Obviously, it would depend on if we were selected. We would have to negotiate the yardage that would be acceptable per house that we would like to do. But we use brush trucks in other municipalities like Angleton and Freeport and some other cities we service. And it allows us to be much more efficient than having guys load brush in a rear load truck.
so if you were using a rear load truck for brush, how many people would you have out, and how many, is it a single day event? Is it multiple day?
We would send one truck, 2 drivers. He'd be there 5 days a week if necessary, and we would make a pass through we would ensure we make at least one pass through the entire city to hit every single household. So whether it goes 2 days or 5 days, it won't matter. We won't stop until the job's done.
I have a question. Actually, I have two. One is, we have in the past had customers who are disabled and trash pickup collector had to go up to the house and bring back the trash can, unload it, and take it back. That's one question. The other is, quite frankly, and I'm sure the mayor will slap me in a minute, we're not terribly good at following the rules. Okay? That was an understatement, but it's likely that trash will come in all forms, and especially in recycling. Are you, usually we have 2 men on a truck that can deal with some of the oddities that show up. I'm wondering if 1 man on a truck with a side loader, that the trash cans will be backward half the time.
Actually, I looked closer at the picture, and it's a grab. It
just grabs
it
this
doesn't grab the handle. It
Okay.
squeezes the
Well,
container.
still, the lid wouldn't go down, would it?
Well,
Yeah, but.
yeah, I don't know.
They'll be sideways, they'll be up near the fence.
Yeah.
It's just
And so I understand where your question is
very,
coming from.
we're very informal, let me put it that way.
Well, and so what happens to a customer in a situation like that, where you have a 1 man on the truck with the side loader, and their carts are not placed appropriately? Are they skipped that day? How does that work?
So to answer the first question, yes, we do offer backdoor. We call it backdoor service, or it's commonly referred to as handicap service. But those accounts are identified by the customer, meaning they'll let us know, hey, I need handicap or backdoor service. I'm not able to bring my cart to the curb on the service day. That's totally fine. We'll go up to a house and bring the cart to the street. We just won't enter a customer's garage, backyard. We won't enter their property, but we will go up to the house and bring the cart to the street to service it. to answer your, and there's no additional charge for that as well. Obviously within reason, if the entire city's backdoor, then that's different, but we're willing to accommodate, any folks who request it. As for your second question, the automated side load trucks are pretty resilient. They'll pick up a cart front ways, back ways, sideways, and they're still able to grab the cart and dump it, since it's literally a pincer claw. They'll grab the base of the cart, so it doesn't matter which way it turns. It just, the lid will open awkwardly if it's open from the side or the rear, but it'll still dump. If there is the event that like there was spillage or some, like you mentioned, some kind of weird situation where, I don't know, the cart wasn't in a perfect spot where the arm could grab it, the driver's going to get out and pull it, 2 or 3 feet. Now, if the cart is nowhere to be seen, or it's, 100 yards away, then we'll contact we'll contact the customer and the city and let them know, hey, either this is not out or we were unable to service. And we'll let the customer know. Typically in a municipality, since we'll be back every day, we'll typically swing by and get it the very next day.
On your list of municipalities, Waste Connection Services in Central Texas, I see Sandy Oaks is listed on here as having service beginning in March of 2000. The city didn't exist in 2000, so I'm kind of curious how that made it on the list, or if there's another city called Sandy Oaks.
Hold on, I'm pulling up my reference list.
That's a boilerplate error.
Just one moment, I'm pulling it up so I can see it with you.
I was told that there is a community.
I heard there is a subdivision called Sandy Oaks over
Yeah.
in Wilson County.
uh,
News to me,
It could be.
yeah.
Urban.
But this is municipalities, so that's why I was thinking.
Well, they have Lago Vista on here too.
Yeah, I apologize. We also list MUDs and HOAs. and it's
Got it. Okay,
There with an identical name.
it's municipal districts and HOAs.
I have a question regarding billing and your website. How easy is it to navigate through your website for us to go and enter our billing information?
So for individual customers, they go through wasteconnections.com and you're welcome to go to that site anytime. It's wasteconnections.com/San Antonio. For customers who want to do bill pay, contact our customer service, send us a message. Typically the most common message we get is a missed pickup message if someone wants to contact us. They can call our customer service as well. We pride ourselves on hold times. We typically have 1 minute and 30-second hold times or less. Since the way this is being proposed, each individual customer would be individually billed. So we would have, for example, if we were awarded the contract, we would reach out directly to every citizen, as well as do the flyering and the communication, like we mentioned we would do, to work with them to set up billing and contact information. They can set up auto pay. They can set up online email statements. They can set up through the app. They can make payments through that as well. So we have a plethora of options that customers can do to contact us.
Thank you.
My question is, can you go over all that you recycle? I noticed you use a different recycling location company,
Different landfill.
different trash company dump. And we've had issues in the past with, I think what Alderman
Bricken?
Bricken was saying was that people don't actually follow the rules when it comes to putting the right stuff for recycling. We've had some issues with our previous service, and they've eliminated glass, but I see your list is got everything on it, and it probably, even with the, not being the sharpest tools in the shed, we could still manage that without too much rejection.
Right. Yeah, so we accept glass. We haven't been excluding glass out of our loads at all. We do take it to the Houston street recycling facility. It's run by Waste Management. They're actually one of the few. There's only a couple recycling facilities in San Antonio, but that's probably the biggest one in San Antonio. In terms of contamination in a load, the recycling facility allows us to dump a certain amount of contamination. Typically, it's less than 10 to 15% of the load. Our drivers themselves, when they're en route, our trucks have hopper cameras in their at the top of the claw where it dumps, so we can always see what's in a cart when they're dumping, or they'll open it and look in it. If there was a chronic, let's say there was a chronic customer who continuously is using their recycle bin as like a second trash cart, which, I mean, it's going to happen. It happens in many municipalities, but then that's on us to reach out to that customer, communicate with them what can and cannot go in the recycling bin, and then offer them a second trash container if they want to go that way. But it's pretty, the single stream recycling, it's pretty lax in terms of us, monitoring the situation. But if we do notice an increasing contamination, then we will start auditing the recycling carts to determine, where the contamination is most coming from.
So how many of the side loader units do you have?
Right now at our facility, we have 5 side load trucks and we have 3 rear load trucks.
And do you use the side loaders for recycling as well?
Yes, ma'am. They're used for both trash and recycling.
Okay. Okay. Seemed like there was another question.
I have another question. As far as additional pickup, I know sometimes some of us have like one extra bag sitting on the side of the cart. Is there any leeway on that?
So we're typically cart only in our bids. However, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, we get it. Sometimes there's going to be extra trash, and typically during those times, yes, we will recover extra. It also depends on the neighborhood in terms of the volume of trash that's coming out. Again, if we notice a customer put out a bag once in a while, like once in a blue moon, we're going to take it. But if it becomes a chronic issue, just like we do with the contamination or recycling, we're gonna reach out to the customer and let them know, hey, do you require would you like to get an extra cart? Here's the cost. We're happy to deliver you one, etc.
Thank you.
In your proposal, you talked about recycling rebates. Can you kind of go over that and explain that?
Yes, of course. So in the macroeconomic world, and since essentially the last 3 years, recycling costs have been increasing dramatically over the last 3 years, which means essentially 90% of recycling in America was being transported out to other countries like China, who would process them and and pay us a rebate back to the distributors who are collecting it from the recycling facilities. And then they required the contamination rate to be very, very low, which stopped the transportation out there, which caused a backup here in the States and caused processing costs to explode over the last 3 years. But I will say in the last year or so, we've seen that market turn around. We've seen that since the economy has been coming back, the price for cardboard, for example, has skyrocketed, and now it has a lot more value than it used to. So processing costs are starting to go back down dramatically. There's still a cost for recycling, so there is no rebate being provided to us. But if the trend continues in the positive direction, there could be. And once that does indeed happen, we're happy to provide the city with 100% of the rebate that we do collect from the recycling facility.
Okay.
Does the driver these are picked up with the side picker, right? The recyclables.
Yes,
Does
sir.
driver actually look in the trash can before he
There's
does
a
that?
They
camera.
have cameras in the back.
Huh?
They have cameras in the back, in the hopper. They have cameras to look at
Okay.
what's being dumped in
I
there.
have a question as far as the 5-year, once a week trash and once a week recycling. That is $18 a month, correct?
Pull it up. So once a week trash and every other week recycling on the 5-year agreement was $18 per month. If you want once a week trash and once a week recycle on a 5-year, we're quoting $20 a month. It's per home per
Yeah,
month.
every other week for
Every other
recycle.
So it's-
And the reason we offered the 10-year agreement was solely because, as we know, inflation is out of control. It's skyrocketing right now. And for some of our customers would like the peace of mind to lock in a rate for a longer term that insulates them against inflation in the future. Obviously, that's a long-term commitment, but I always let customers know too, we have service clauses that allow the city to hold us to our performance. And even if it is a 10-year deal, you shouldn't be held to poor performance from a trash company.
And is the billing on a monthly basis or how, quarterly?
To be honest, we could do it monthly or quarterly, whatever's more convenient to the residents of the city. But whatever option we do choose, it has to be either all monthly or all quarterly.
So it's everybody.
Yes, ma'am.
And then you did respond to the question relative to franchise fees. Can you talk a little bit? Do you have franchise fees in place with any of your other customers? And can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. I'll give you an example. Our largest municipal customer within a 30-mile or 40-mile radius is the city of Seguin. The city of Seguin has roughly, it's growing exponentially, but right now it's about 9,300 households, and they collect a franchise fee, I think around 7% per quarterly residential billing. So whatever that 7% is per quarter, Waste Connections essentially sends the city their franchise fee in a check, and then we send a audited invoice list so the city can verify that the franchise fee is the appropriate amount off of that percentage.
And is that assessed over and above on the pricing for the service?
Yes, ma'am. It essentially passes on the cost directly to the city.
So the cost is borne by the
Customer.
customer, and then, but the fee would come to the city. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Wait a minute, is it $18 plus 7%?
No.
Well, no. It would, if there were a franchise fee, and we can decide if we want to have a franchise fee and what percentage that would be. I'm just asking him from the perspective of who bears the cost of that.
Could we modify the contract and add that later?
Well,
if
we don't have a
choose to?
contract yet.
No, if we had a contract.
It's not automatic, is what they're saying.
It's not automatic, no,
Okay.
no. Okay, well, are there any other questions for Mr. Schuyler? Okay, I'm going to take that as a no. Is there anyone on the call, any citizen on the call who has a question that they would like to ask? And I think *6, you can unmute yourself. Mr. Tremblay, is that you would like?
Yes,
Go ahead, sir.
yes, there's a question about the containers. What's provided by the company?
So we would provide, well, obviously depending on the option, but every citizen would be provided, just depending on the option, with one 95-gallon cart for trash, one 95-gallon cart for recycle, and residents can order additional carts at any time. They could decrease at any time at a rate that's determined by the service level selected by the city. All the ad cart pricing is different depending on the option the city selects.
Okay, and then additionally, there are folks out here who have dumpsters. Do you have a dumpster service as well?
Yes,
Do you
sir.
provide dumpster service?
Yes, sir. We factored in that, there's roughly 50 to 60 commercial dumpsters, mostly 2 yards and 3 yard dumpsters. There are some 4 yards, and then the containers the city mentioned in the RFP. And we're prepared to offer those services as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, Mr. Schuyler, I appreciate your time, and you're welcome to stay, and we'll listen to the next presenter, and then the council will deliberate, maybe make a decision, hopefully.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, let's see. Lee, I think Lee from Tiger Sanitation is on the call, as well as I think Frank Arredondo on here as well. Good evening, Mr. Kuhn. How are you?
I am well. Can you hear me?
We hear you just fine.
Just wanted to make sure I didn't have to star 60 something or other. Well, good evening, Mayor, Council. Appreciate you having us here this evening. And as you mentioned, Frank is here with me. So we may tag team in terms of presentation and answering any questions. First, let me say that we've enjoyed and appreciated the opportunity to serve Sandy Oaks over the years. I think we've come to know and appreciate your city, and hopefully you've found value in the services we've provided. I know that we've certainly grown together here. I typically kind of get to see a presentation and maybe get to see what the companies are offering in terms of scope of services and prices and things like that. So forgive me that I may not have caught all of the details or relevant details to be able to provide some sort of contrast, but certainly we'll say this, that as you know, we hopefully know that we are a local family-owned company, women-owned organization. Our entire service area is in the greater San Antonio and surrounding county area, and we grew from one truck to serving over 90,000 residential customers in the greater San Antonio area, including your community. In addition to that, nearly 4,000 commercial businesses and many thousand industrial customers as well on top of that. So again, we appreciate this opportunity, and we understand the need and nature to go out to bid. And so one of the other things I picked up on is the days of service. I'd like for you to consider as you're evaluating this, is that depending on the option you select, it is either one day during the week, or if you elect for twice per week trash collection, obviously that's twice per week. But in any case, we're servicing the entire city in that one day or second day of service, which greatly limits the amount of truck traffic on your streets. And we know that that's heavy trucks on roads. While it's necessary, it does play a toll. So again, like you consider that, and if there is misses, then of course that we will be able to come back around, because again, we do serve their surrounding areas and obviously are within the area outside of the city 5 days a week. If there is a desire to have an automated side load truck in your community, we can do that. We operate automated side loads. In fact, have 2 brand new trucks being delivered within a couple weeks. And so if you would like that cart content only, which is again what we proposed, we certainly can provide that. I'm not certain if the other proposal included bulk collection in its base rate, or if that was to be negotiated and added on, but I just would point out that our proposal does include a semi-annual bulk collection in our base. And if you're interested in a longer term contract, we'd be willing to discuss that with the city. Frank, was there anything that you wanted to add?
No, I think, again, Frank Ardondo, for the ones that don't know me, thank you again, Mayor Ball and Council of Sandy Oaks, for allowing us to discuss our current service. But no, Lee, I think you covered pretty much everything. I mean, we have been servicing y'all for quite some time, and Mayor Ball, I've been the direct contact along with Christiane, and then of course Lee as well, for the entire term of the contract, and we'll continue to be the point of contact for another term if we are chosen to do so. So it's been an absolute pleasure to be the service company to provide the trash and the recycle service for the city of Sandy Oaks, and we look forward to continuing service. So I appreciate it. But no, Lee, you covered everything. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you both.
I have a question. Your rate is what, $19.75 for once a week, every other week?
Yeah. That's what they're proposing, yes.
Okay.
And including the bulk collection as well,
Right.
twice a year, semi-annual bulk. Yes, sir.
And that was my question. So it said, so there's curbside bulk and there's brush bulk. So are you saying that twice a year we would get like 2 curbside bulk and then 2 curbside brush, or is it just 2 period?
It was just 2 included in there. And again, if you wanted more, obviously we could negotiate a different scope or level of service, but it was a twice annual, so that you could either set out bulk or brush or a combination of both.
And that still would have the 2 cubic yard limit, correct?
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay.
I was curious, you no longer recycle glass. Is your contamination percentage high? Do you have a lot of lead rejected?
We do. That's one thing that we would propose to the city. And again, if you feel strongly about glass, we can add glass back into the mix. One of the reasons that we have started to eliminate glass from communities is, as the gentleman mentioned previously, over the last 4 years, the recycle market, it was in a really bad place, and glass is a net negative, really just about for everybody except for the bottling companies that receive the glass. And I won't go into depth. Obviously, if you want to ask specific questions, I'd be happy to. But in essence, what it boils down to is it's an inert. It's literally available, dirt cheap and abundant silica sand. Yet it's very heavy to transport. It contaminates the other highly valuable and highly recyclable materials. It tends to break and crush, and it can be a problem for the MRFs. They really don't like it, but they're not allowed to say that in society, in public, and I'll be brave enough to say it. And the nearest processing place is in Midlothian, Texas, and that glass has to be shipped in a truck, all the way up to Midlothian. And again, I get it. And a lot of people want to feel good about recycling and want to recycle everything they can, but and sometimes it's not the best thing to do, but we're willing to do it if you feel strongly about it. We have a few other cities that want it. But in an effort to try to control costs and quite honestly do the right thing, do a better thing for the environment. And I know some might debate that, but again, like I said, I don't mind saying it. We got to be honest in this industry and shoot people straight if we're ever going to make change and do the right thing. And so that was one of the things that we did to try to help out. As for the contamination level in the city, it is quite high. And that would be one of the things I would propose to the city, depending on which option you selected, is us doing a campaign to better educate the residents, because it is difficult. And it'd be even more difficult in a side load if you did select that for us. It's nearly impossible, despite the camera up in the hopper, and the hoppers in a automated side load truck is actually way up high in the middle of the body. And you literally have to really pay very, very close attention to capture visually what is falling out of that 95-gallon cart past the camera. It sometimes can be very difficult. And quite honestly, drivers, unless it's just grossly obvious, may not take the time. It's a little more obvious in a rear load when the cart's opened and tipped into
Right.
the rear load, where you visually observe it. And that's probably the best way to help change habits. And we put cart hangers on the carts and let people know that it's contaminated, and it's a challenge that we have. And we also take our material to the East Houston facility, which is Waste Management, and they've told us multiple times that we've got the cleanest recycling that they receive, and it's because we do work hard. And like I said before, I think I spoke with the mayor in the past about and some others about the recycling, that it is very contaminated, and we thought so. That's why we offered the twice a week trash as an option, that maybe it might provide more value. But again, we're open to that. We want y'all to have the service that you want, and we're willing to do the hard work and educating the community on how to properly recycle and not wish cycle, and to do the right thing.
Thank you. I know that is a challenge. I do know. I see it all the time. I do have a clarification question. In your proposal, under your rates, you've identified the one time a week trash with every other week recycling at $19.75 a month, but there were two different rates for the additional cart. One said $10 and one said $15. So can you clarify what is the cost for an additional cart?
Yeah, I'm looking at this now, and Frank, you may speak better to that, but it might have been, and clarify, Frank, that if that would have been for a third cart, if there was a third cart, for the $10, and the second one would have been $15, but correct me if I'm wrong, Frank.
Yes, that is correct. And I'm looking at it as well, Mayor Ball. So in the two paragraphs for option 1 and option 2, it states in there that it's $15. On the bottom caption, where it has the sentence, with either option, an extra solid waste cart can be ordered for an additional 10, should have been in there for to make a total of 3 carts if a resident chose to go that way.
Okay,
Did that clarify the question?
it did, yes. It did. So that was under option, well, it's under both options, correct?
Yes, it'll be for either option.
Okay. Okay. And then can you talk to us about franchise fees? Do you have franchise fees in place with any of your other municipal or your municipal customers that you work with?
Absolutely. And, just echo Mr. Schuyler's comments. It's not uncommon with municipalities, especially larger municipalities. And it would be handled exactly the same way. If you wanted a 3% or 5% or 7%, 10%, because that was not anticipated and included in the bid, that would be added on and would be essentially a pass through that we would we would bill and collect that for the city and remit that back to the city on a monthly or quarterly basis. And typically it's on a quarterly basis.
Okay, any other questions from the council? Anyone on the call?
I'm still not clear on those $10 or $15 because I couldn't hear him that well.
Oh, I'm sorry. Frank, could you repeat your comment about the $10 and the $15 additional cart charge?
You just tell
Yes,
me.
absolutely. So if a resident chooses to get an additional cart along with their standard 95-gallon cart, the first cart, which is actually the second one, the first additional cart is $15. If they needed one and chose to get another cart on top of that, which would be a total of 3 carts, that third cart would be at $10 a piece.
Oh,
Okay. Thank you.
And
Absolutely.
if I may add, and again, I not able to see the proposals and, the numbers and breakdowns of things, but, I just asked for y'all to consider, some, in terms of the rate, whether it's 75 cent or what it may be, but the multiple of that, it's not lost on me that, especially this day and age, that every dollar counts. We certainly respect that. And, we submitted forth a good faith proposal. We submitted one during the original RFP, and we understand that there was a misunderstanding, and obviously we resubmitted the exact same proposal in good faith. And just say that, in relative terms, again, not lost on me that every dollar counts, and it's in y'all's best interest to watch every cent for your residents. But you know us, and that we're a local company, and we hope that you find value in that, and find value in not needing to make a change, and not going through the transition phase that it takes of making a transition. And I'll say this: if you do decide to make a change, know that we will act in good faith. And Mr. Schuyler, if you're awarded it, we will congratulate you and make sure there's a smooth transition. But we do believe that not having a transition is worth something too, and knowing who we are and what we're about, hopefully again has a little bit of value when you compare the the cents difference per month between the companies. And that's all I would say. Again, I just appreciate y'all's time and having the opportunity to serve the city.
Thank you very much, Lee, and thank you, Frank. Mr. Schuyler, I do have a question for you, please, if you can unmute.
Yes, ma'am.
Regarding the curbside bulk and curbside brush, is that 2 bulk and 2 brush, or 2 combined?
It's 2 bulk and 2 brush. So
A total of
one-
4?
yes, ma'am.
And that would be quarterly?
Semi-annually. So if you wanted to spread it out, so you do 1 per quarter alternating, you could do that, or you can do them both in the same quarter. But it would be both services semi-annually.
Do you have limitations on the amount that can be picked up?
Typically, yes, we will set limitations, but if we're awarded the contract, we would negotiate that with the city during contract negotiations on limitations.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So I'll give you my 2 cents on this.
okay.
First and foremost, the reason that we entered into the initial agreement 5 years ago was it was a 2-pronged approach. One was we wanted to limit the amount of traffic from heavy vehicles on our streets. At that time, before we had a single provider, there were 5 or 6 different companies that were out here. So every day of the week, there could be a trash truck traveling that maybe they only had one customer, but that trash truck came in here to service that customer. Our roads out here are not built to sustain that level of traffic. I do like the fact that Tiger does it in one trip. You have your Saturday dumpsters and then you have Wednesday, and that's it. So everyone can count on that. What I got from Waste Connections was that it would take 3 days to complete the entire pickup for that week, but they're going to be in zones, if you will. There's certain areas that would be serviced. My personal opinion on that is confusing to citizens.
Mhm.
I would not know how to address that when complaints came in or comments are made or somebody calls me. You know, and then we just went through a transition where we changed from Thursday to Wednesday, and that created some chaos. I cannot imagine saying, not only are you not Wednesday anymore, you're Monday and you're Friday, or whatever it could be. So that's one of the concerns that I have about that. The other, when I said there were 2 issues related to selecting a single provider, had to do with better pricing for the customers out here.
Yes, very much.
And I will say that Tiger definitely delivered on that. The rates that were being charged previously were very high, and they are much more appreciated now. I do understand the challenges, not all of them, of course, but I do understand the challenges that both of your companies face related to this. This can be perceived as one of those thankless jobs, but as soon as it's not done, the calls start, the complaints are lodged, and it can get pretty ugly. So I just wanted to kind of offer that. I will now open it to the council members for any additional comments or discussion.
I personally have never had a problem with Tiger, both with pricing or service, and they've always delivered. I really, I think it was a good idea to go out for, for what we did. But I don't see any reason to change, to tell you the truth, for the benefit that we might perceive. I think that the other company is a good service, but I think about the chaos that will ensue if we change and we do go to, this separate pickup schedule, and we do the side as Gary stated, with the way people put their trash cans out.
I'm on the same note as you, but mine is basically a feeling of they're both good services. One has been a little late for me I feel like I'm up against a wall here. I would rather do what I normally do, is go with the devil I know.
And that's the way I feel. Plus the fact that I always have more than one, not always, but lots of times I'll have more than one can that put trash in, and then, so what do I do now? Do I get another can for another $15 or?
Yeah,
I do
My
that.
understanding that Tiger has eliminated the extra 30 gallon or bag.
They
on this
haven't,
new
they
contract.
still do it now, but
remembering them at Christmas time is also good.
Right.
so I see no reason to change. At least that's my perspective. So
I agree with you.
I like Tiger. I haven't had any issues with them either. But one thing I think to consider is the residents whose trash bins are damaged. They're probably gonna incur fees when they have to trade it in and it's a damaged cart.
Well, my cart, I have a wheel that's stuck, so,
They hit my cart like the first week after I had it, so it's already like,
right.
Well, they
so.
like to leave it in front of the mailbox and then feed the delivery of the mail. There's something I've called them about and it never, I got no satisfaction.
Yeah.
Well, but I've had carts that had problems and I just called them and they came out and.
Yeah.
They've replaced mine
They
for no
charge you?
charge as well.
I've had,
I need to-
No, I
Replace-
think for normal wear and tear on the, I mean, the carts are gonna take wear and tear because they're moved quite a bit and,
That's right.
but Mr. Fillinger,
I want to be the devil's advocate, ma'am.
okay, go for it.
I've had a heartache with Tiger ever since they started. Not in picking up my trash or picking up my recycle, because I actually sort my recycle. I know, foreign concept. But their original contract called for a bulk pickup at each resident and a brush pickup at each resident. And they just throw everything in one truck, which means none of our brush goes to the brush yard to be chipped, turned into mulch. I was just shocked when they made their first bulk pickup, and now it's not a bulk pickup, it's a bulk and brush pickup at one time.
Is it in the contract that it would be that way?
That's the way I read it, but they told me I was wrong. But it actually mentions separate pickups in the contract.
Well, then we can hold
Mentions
it. to that.
separate pickups in their proposal. And I remember 5 years ago when the gentleman was making his proposal, one thing he said, well, if we don't have the equipment, we'll get it. I really like the idea of the claw pickup. I've lived in cities where they did that. You don't have to cut everything down
Right.
to 4 feet and tie it in bundles to be picked up. You put a pile out there. Anybody that lives in San Antonio has seen the claw truck. And they pick up both bulk and brush with that. So, I've had an issue. I've just today, because I live alone, I don't utilize the weekly trash pickup because I don't fill my can up, so I did not put out trash today. But when I went out to pick up my mail, there's trash in front of my house that obviously came either from the neighbor's can when it was dumped or fell out the back of the truck. And again, the contract provision is if we spill trash, we're going to pick it up. They may do it sometimes, but I see a lot of drips and dribbles from the carts, and they picked up my trash and they picked up my recycle. They missed one pickup in 5 years. 3 days of pickup in different zones versus multiple truck trips in and out. I mean, yep, Tiger does it in 1 day. But I've had a lot of complaints about missed pickups, and we'll be back on Saturday, or we'll be there tomorrow. And I understand that. But, the difference in one truck taking 3 days to pick up through the city versus one truck making multiple trips in and out in 1 day just you know, I don't see the difference.
Well, and I see where you're going with that. And I believe Tiger sends out more than one truck. There's multiple trucks out here
Oh,
during trash collection.
Yeah,
So that's not the issue, but the concern is that type of is that the type of traffic we want happening basically every day of the week out here?
And that, as far as missing pickups, I've never had them miss pickup except for 2 weeks ago, which they missed the pickup day. And I called them and they said, well, our truck broke down. We'll be back and pick it up
and I understand
tomorrow.
that.
And true to their word, they came and picked it up. So,
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
Truck can break down,
yeah.
but
So,
we, you know, we face a lot of complaints about
Yeah.
My trash was missed, or my recycle was missed, or
And I think one of the other complaints that I hear quite a bit is the customer service, that
Nobody answers.
they don't answer, they
oh
don't
no,
call you
send an
back.
email. Don't even try to. call.
Yeah, I try to share the email address, but yeah, they, and I'm not there, I'm only repeating what I've been told or read, that, you know, they hang up on them, they don't call them back, they don't because our address says Elmendorf, they get confused, they don't understand Elmendorf is different than here, not knowing the distinction between the two. So, no, they are, and I
They've gone
understand
through
that.
some kind of transition recently, and they've had some issues, but it hasn't been a problem for me. They skip me, they come back the next day, you
Yeah.
know, there's no problem with that.
Yeah,
not same with me.
Yeah.
I've
Well,
not had the
it's
trouble,
kind of a
but-
rule of that. They're not lying to you, believe them. I just, when it gets missed, I just put it back till next week.
right.
But, you know,
No, I can see where it could be a real concern for some families out here that have a large family. You know, it's just myself and my sister. I'm kind of like you. I don't put my recycling out, but maybe once a month, or my trash, sometimes I'll skip a week because it's not full, you know? But I can see where a large family, this could be a real issue if they're missed. And they have, you know, 5, 6, 7 people living in that household. That's a lot of trash that's being generated there.
If they have 3 routes, the only streets that'll be repetitively driven are the
Is
2 main
The 2 main
streets.
roads, exactly.
They'll be driving all over the place.
Yeah,
But
But the other ones will be singularly a week,
but there,
once a week driven.
you know, look, doesn't matter who
it doesn't
picks
matter.
it
It's
up.
the same miles.
Doesn't matter who picks up and whether they use one truck 3 days a week. There's only so much trash generated. Okay, so they're gonna pick up the same amount of trash from the same places, that whether they use one truck, multiple trucks. I mean, it's just, you know, so we have trash trucks 3 days a week. Like, we lived with that for years, only it was 5 or 6 companies.
Well, actually, it's going to be more than that. And I didn't ask Mr. Schuyler this, but like for Tiger, it's residential trash is on Wednesday and
Yeah.
Saturday is dumpster service.
Right.
So is it going to be 4 days for Waste Connections because they've got 3 days to pick up regular trash plus another day for dumpster service? I don't know the answer to that.
Again, you know,
I would think if it's.
If
oh,
you
no, it's
divide it
totally
into
different
3
truck.
It's a
routes,
different truck, yeah.
each truck is gonna weigh less on our roads because it's gonna pick up 1/3 less trash every day.
no.
I don't believe that.
no, I don't.
They're gonna maximize
They fill up the truck and they go to the
Exactly.
landfill, they come
Yeah.
back and they fill up the truck again. They're not, you know,
Yeah, I understand.
you know, I'm just,
I totally agree with you, Mr. Miller. And I'm sure they're listening.
the hydraulic
Okay.
leakage is the
And
worst.
maybe this is give Tiger kind of a wake-up call that, you know, there are problems and they're going to have to address them a little bit better than they have.
A wake-up call once every 5 years doesn't really address that, you know. doesn't
Exactly.
Really address
No,
Their-
I
Their
understand that
customers
totally.
are my
I'll-
customers also.
Right.
I'll still go with the devil I know.
Uh,
The other guy might be just as bad.
Well,
We don't
if he
know.
does, we terminate him for cause and we go through the.
And we can terminate
process.
Tiger for cause too.
There's plenty of satisfied customers in their resume, in their bid package.
Which one?
Legitimate cities and,
Waste Connection?
yes.
Yeah.
No, I'm sure Tiger could do that.
You know,
I think one of the concerns that I've had with Tiger specifically has to do with dumpsters. My personal opinion is only commercial businesses should have them. There shouldn't be any at residential. That's
I agree.
my thought. But placing them in the right of way, they continue to put them in the right of way, and that is a problem.
and that's an issue that,
We had an ordinance about that.
We have an
We
ordinance
have an
about that.
ordinance
We've
and
brought
they-
it to their attention and
they-
it's not
and we brought it to
resolved.
their attention, they're still out in the right of
Yeah.
way. And the only way that's gonna stop is if we bring in a record, haul them down to the impound town yard and charge them
Yeah,
the full fee because they're violating city ordinance.
right.
Well, we should
Okay.
do it.
The customer's not violating the ordinance.
No,
Tiger's placing them in the right of way, even though that's been addressed and expressed is not acceptable. They made some motion to try to put them in yards. It didn't work.
it's,
So
it
they're
sort of
still in the right of
started
way.
working, but then they just got lax again
Okay. I-
and the, one of the challenges is,
I'm hardcore. I'll call a record and have it hauled. We put it
Well,
in
we
the
should do
impound
it. I
yard.
mean,
They can pay
I agree with
storage
you,
fees
Charles.
plus pay the.
with the trash,
With the
Plus-
trash in it, yeah.
Plus pay the city ordinance
right,
citation.
yeah.
I'm pretty hardcore about this stuff.
Why don't we even up it?
Couldn't our
Well,
city
and
tractor
the-
pick one?
The challenge with the dumpsters in the right of way, there's a multiple reasons for that, but one
And
is
they should be picked up on a business day instead of a Saturday.
Saturday at 6:30. I love it. They come driving by my house.
It is a noise issue.
It is a noise issue. But we have contractors who are trying to work in the right of way and they can't because the dumpsters are in the right of way. They're not there for trash service. They're there for utilities.
And out on Priest Road, one of those dumpsters is actually causing erosion
Exactly.
at the roadbed.
Yeah.
Uh,
So again, my
Two that
personal
are in the
preference
Tiger.
is
Yeah,
that we would
Republican
only
Party,
offer
yeah.
cart service,
And they're
period.
popping up everywhere.
Um,
More and more of them.
And no dumpsters at all,
That's
unless
like
you're
the other,
commercial.
You know,
That
once
would
they
be-
see a little bit, you know.
That would
it's
eliminate
okay,
that
it's okay.
problem.
they-
There
We
we
can
go.
implement that,
Can't we?
correct? Well, they don't want it on.
We
their property
could,
because the trash
Ms.
mess up your
Ortiz, could
property,
we,
which is
in,
basically what they
with
do
either
anyway.
selection, could we, in the contract, only offer cart service and no dumpsters?
That would all be in the contract.
All in the contract, okay.
Well, wait a minute. There are times that were mentioned in
Construction job sites.
Roll-offs,
and
that's
roll-offs
different.
is-
That's
is
different.
not an issue.
loss plus moving.
That's fine, those are different.
But those would be in the yard.
What we're talking about is eliminating these 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 yard
They're
dumpsters.
not cheap.
Well, we
Still
don't-
allow the roll-offs,
You can
which
get
are
3
20,
95-gallon
30,
carts for
and
less money
40
Picked up.
Yeah.
yard, yeah,
Like,
For
You say
construction, moving.
commercial.
exactly. Clean outs, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, temporary thing.
within the city itself, we only have a small commercial district and only 2 buildings that I've ever seen that were listed as commercial businesses.
Well, the city,
Couldn't we write an ordinance that, the
Let's not address that now.
No,
no, no.
About-
no, but what we're saying is that can be a contract negotiation. The council could decide that we don't want dumpsters. If you're residential, you get residential cart service,
that's what the ordinance would say.
but we don't need to have an ordinance
Okay.
around that. There will be some crying if we went that route and some screaming and
I-
and the only other thing we haven't done is mandated trash service to everybody.
Well, other than waking up early on Saturday morning, I don't have an issue with the small dumpsters service to individuals, but it needs not to land in the right of way.
Mhm.
If the truck can't access your property, you can't have one.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And-
Well, and that is the conversation I've had when we put that, when
and-
we
and
had
I-
Tiger go out and move them, I
Yep.
had customers call me personally.
Yep.
And I went and assessed their situation and I explained
well,
how
the
it was
Tiger-
gonna
Tiger
work and
reps
I,
are listening now.
no, I understand it.
I'm saying we move and impound any dumpster that's in the right of way.
I agree with you.
Yeah,
You know,
but
Do we
When-
need a
when-
resolution for that?
the thing with the placement of the dumpsters is my final comment to that customer was the ultimate decision resides with Tiger because they have to be able to access wherever you want to put it, they have to be able to access it. So
I
the
know
final
some
call
people
is
modify
theirs.
Their fence
And
line.
some people
Yes.
did. Yes, they absolutely
I'm
did.
just, you know,
If they can't put it out of the right of way, they can't sell.
They can't sell, they can't have the
Service.
service. It's kind of what
Yeah,
I,
That
actually,
blames
it's-
them, not
It's
us.
Tiger and the citizens' problem. They have to be able to come to some
comply.
agreement.
yeah. no, I agree.
except that our utility companies can't do their job.
Well, what I'm
Right.
saying, they have to be able
When we
to
try to mow
satisfy
right
all
of
conditions.
ways,
Right,
we
Yeah.
have to deal with it.
right,
It's just, you know.
Right.
I'm-
I
Never mind.
agree with you.
okay.
Yeah,
So-
I'm done.
Yeah, okay, so what
Okay.
do we do?
Would you have any comments you'd like to offer?
I'm happy with Tiger, but, I think you get more for less with this other, company. And, that's who I would vote for. I think the recycling is a lot more robust, and even if we don't have exactly the right stuff in our cart, they seem to be more accepting of greasy pizza boxes and stuff like
Yes.
that.
I don't need enough.
Dirty
people.
mayonnaise jars, and
Oh,
it might not be such an issue.
you know, that's always been one of my concerns with recycling is the amount of water you have to waste to participate in
It's like
recycling.
washing
It's
dishes,
kind of-
right?
I
Yeah.
just throw it in
You
the
just-
trash.
you
That's
just-
all right.
you destroy- Sometimes I do, you destroy your septic tank.
Exactly. Yeah,
Well, some things have to be recycled by sending them to India for reincarnation, unfortunately.
now I'm gonna hit you.
So are we gonna vote? or what?
Okay, so with that in mind, and Ms. Ortiz, how would we go about this? Do we just bring up one and vote on it or bring up two, or how do we do this?
I think if someone has a motion to select a
To select
contractor, the contractor selected with authority to the mayor to negotiate a contract with that provider.
Okay, did y'all get that?
Effective, I think it would be January 1st.
Yeah, the contract expires December 31st. So at this point, I will entertain a motion.
So I make a motion that we accept Tiger's.
Can you hear him?
I make a motion that we accept Tiger's
RFP?
RFP and for the mayor to negotiate by 1 December. Is that correct, Mayor?
Or sooner?
Or sooner? Yes. Is that sufficient?
That is.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Okay, so we have a motion by Alderman Rapino and a second by Alderman Bricken to accept the RFP for solid waste collection, disposal, and recycling services presented by Tiger Sanitation. Do we need a record on this one or not?
No.
Okay, so I'm going to ask each of you to say yay or nay, but raise your hand for yay. We'll do all in favor first. All in favor, say
Yay.
yay. 1, 2. Okay, so
There's
that is 2. Okay. All opposed? Okay. Then let's move on to the second one. Who would like to make a motion?
I move that we accept the proposal from Waste Connections and authorize the mayor to negotiate the contract prior to January 1, 2022.
No second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Fillinger and a second by Alderman Crickmer to approve the RFP for solid waste collection, disposal, and recycling services presented by Waste Connections. All in favor, say aye and raise your hand, please.
Aye.
Okay, that's 3 against.
3, 4.
4, there's 3, 4.
Say what?
You said 3 against.
You said
it's
3, 4, sorry. It's like 3, 4, what? 3, 4.
She's got her mindset.
All against?
Freudian slip.
You're supposed to raise your hand.
About what, again?
Against.
Against.
Okay, so 2 against. Okay, so there you go, folks. I appreciate the presentation and the time and effort that was put into this from both organizations. And Lee and Frank, thank you so much. I'll be talking with you soon. And Ryan, we will be talking as well. So again, thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mayor Ball. I appreciate your time tonight, and I appreciate the opportunity.
All right, thank you.
And thank you for the opportunity to serve, and congratulations, Mr. Schuyler, and I wish you all the best of luck.
Thank you so much, Lee.
Thank you.
Okay,
It's on to new.
well, let's go back to item
Better thing.
6, animal control, updates and announcements.
Yeah.
Hey, you're out of order. Okay, item 6, animal control, updates and announcements from Animal Control Advisory Committee Chair Jennifer Puente with possible discussion and or action. Do you have anything?
Yes, we're having a meeting on September 27th at 6:30 p.m. here at City Hall.
Okay. All right, thank you, ma'am. Let's move on to item 8C, discuss and or possible action on joining the Texas Municipal Retirement System, also known as TMRS. This was brought by Alderman Rapino and Crickmer. I'll let the two of you go ahead and address that.
Well, I guess we need to decide.
I guess we
whether-
need to decide.
We need an ordinance to, do we have an ordinance? Should you want me to make a motion that?
Well,
we-
let's ask Ms. Ortiz first.
Yeah, I don't have an ordinance prepared, so it can be a motion to.
Authorize the attorney to
prepare an
draft.
ordinance. And
Okay.
Did TMRS have an ordinance that they?
I don't know, I'll check with them. They probably do. I think they do.
Okay,
I
didn't
think they
have a
do too.
specific One that.
Yeah.
They required, but.
Okay, I'll check with them. I'll call them tomorrow. Do you want me to put them in contact with you if they have an ordinance? Or do you want them to send me the ordinance and then I'll just send it to you?
If you've been the contact, they can send you forward along. If not, we can draft one. I just want to make sure that it has all the terms that they need under any.
Yeah, I'm sure they have an ordinance. If I remember correctly, talking with them, that they said they did have one that they have the general format for one.
So it could be an authorization for an ordinance and that the next meeting we'll bring it back to council.
Okay.
Okay,
All
and
right.
so there's 2 items that the council needs to consider for that. One was the employee contribution
Mhm.
level,
Right,
and I think that was fairly well, the majority was 5%.
5. And we
Um,
also have to figure that.
We have to figure the match. So,
Well, they'll, yeah, the match, but, and the retirement,
oh, yes. The way he presented it with the, 20 years or 25 years service regardless of age or whatever that combination was, that's fairly
5
standard, I
five
think.
Yeah.
year.
That's fixed. The only thing we negotiate is the term before full vesture.
The what?
Full vesture.
Oh, fully
It
vested.
could be
The
5 or
5-year
10
or
years.
10-year
Yeah,
vesting.
yeah.
Ah,
What, do we settle that now? We're gonna
yes,
discuss
we need
it?
to do all that so that we can
Okay,
instruct the
yeah.
attorney to do her part.
But we're here to discuss,
Okay,
okay?
what do you
Devil's
think?
advocate again. I'm not impressed with this retirement program,
Right,
okay? I oppose mandating employees have to participate in a retirement program. But I just find it very hard to swallow. Hey, you have to participate in this program if you want to work for us.
right.
And there's a possibility that we might lose good candidates that say, I don't want to be in that program. It's very fixed. There's very little options involved.
Mhm.
I'd much rather see the city negotiate with one or more providers, as for instance, the 401k. Our bank offers both the 401k and a Roth IRA program. The 401k is completely voluntary. You participate or you don't participate. You may choose to join the 401k and make a contribution as small as 1% of your paycheck. Or you can participate up to the legal limits of your investment. Okay, 401ks historically return about the same percentage as the TRMS program does. I'm just, like I say, I choke at you must.
Well, I
Yeah, that's-
Is
understand,
there
I
any,
understand,
is
but
there anything stopping a person from having a 401k
No.
or a Roth as
No.
well?
No.
If they want a higher yield?
well, 401k is sponsored by your
401k
company.
is an employer sponsor.
It
Okay,
is.
investments
They,
then.
they
It is.
can
Retirement
participate
investments?
in an IRA
They can.
above and beyond this. The IRA, there's no matching fund. Your employer doesn't.
Right.
A normal IRA does. Your employer's not
Okay,
involved in it. Okay. If your employer offers the Roth IRA, that has to be in addition to the 401k program.
Well,
But
I understand what you're saying, but we already polled the employees previously to ask them if they wanted to participate. It was a unanimous, yes, they want to.
did you offer the options?
That's my concern. There are other options and you're asking them if you want to buy just a Chevrolet when there's successive brands. And I kind of go along with him. I don't like the idea of a situation where an employee, a potential employee, is told you must participate, okay? This isn't the Army, okay? I think they should have the freedom to choose different options, that's all.
Even in the military, you had the option of participating in bond purchases or not.
I was a union steward in a very large union, and we had retirement, and we had options on whether what
well,
you
I
could
did
do.
inquire with Fisher and they said they didn't have such a plan that for municipalities. Fisher Investments, which is a pretty big firm. That's not a bank or an insurance company, no doubt, but it's an investment now.
Yeah, I'm just, there's so little flexibility in this program. i.e. if you have a 401k, you have an emergency in your life, you can borrow against your 401k
Yes.
and repay it. This has no provision for that. So if you have an emergency and you have to access some funds,
You have to quit.
you quit. And one of our officers I talked to said he knows individuals that have quit, pull their money out. Well, not only did they quit their job to get their money out, but they lost the city's participation in that program
Because they weren't vested.
because even if you're vested, you can't take that money out. That
Until you
portion out.
reach the
But if you
Until
threshold.
quit,
you
you
reach the-
can.
Huh?
Do you lose the city's contribution if
Yeah.
you quit
Yeah.
and you're vested?
No, you don't lose it, but you can't draw it until
Your
the,
Till you meet the criteria
till you
for,
meet the,
retirement.
yeah,
Wow.
the retirement criteria.
right.
So you're still tied into it. Whether
Yeah,
you.
What
Yeah.
happened to the
Even though
freedom
you're-
around here?
The other thing is,
Unless.
unless a participant leaves here and goes to work for another Texas municipality, this program is not portable at all.
Mhm.
Okay, your 401k, you leave this company, you can transfer that into the new company's 401k or IRA
Unless it's
program.
another municipality, of course.
And that's what I'm saying. If you know,
You can roll it over if you're. in.
if you're a big time police officer at the city of Sandy Oaks, Texas, and making the vast amounts of money we pay, and some silly county in Missouri says, hey, boy, we got a 30,000 signed and $30,000 signing bonus. We'll pay all your things and double your money. Yeah, his little TMRS is going to sit right here because he doesn't qualify in Missouri
Well,
or Louisiana or.
Really? It's not transportable to another state?
I don't know that because this is Texas Municipal
Mhm.
Retirement System.
Right.
well,
Well,
your
no,
argument,
there's no portability. It's Texas municipal. That's it.
well, I think it was something, I would accept that, the poll by a small number of employees. And we don't even have any that have been here all that long without being offered all these other possibilities, is we're denying them perhaps better opportunities.
And that's my take is,
Let me ask these two, since you worked on this so much. What is do you have a percentage of municipalities that participate in TMRS? Is it 50% of them, 60%, 20%? Do you have an idea?
What do you mean a percentage of that? There's
Of
800 and
all of the
some.
municipalities in Texas?
There's thousands. I forget the.
I'm
exact
just
There's
figure.
curious
800
how
and
many-
some There are 800 and some municipalities in Texas that are part of the TMRS program.
Okay.
I can't remember the exact number. But I mean, I don't like the idea of having to, having to participate if you're an employee. I mean, but I understand why they do that because that's how they.
Well, you do understand that it is pre-tax, therefore your taxable income
Goes
is
down.
reduced. So if you let's use $100 because that's easy to work from. Without the retirement plan, you're taxed on $100. With the retirement plan, you're taxed on $95.
Or whatever, whatever the percentage.
Well, no. I'm just
Yeah.
assuming
Yeah,
5%. Yeah, assuming 5%.
But
So your taxes are a little bit less and you're paying for it with pre-tax dollars.
that's also true of your 401k
I
program
understand
and
that.
IRA program, not
I
the Roth
understand that.
IRA, but
No, I understand it. I think SAWS participates in
They
TMRS.
do.
Every employee at SAWS participates.
but I don't hire the employees.
No, I
so
understand. No, I understand
I
that.
don't write the policy manual itself.
I understand that. We do have one employee here, so I'm gonna ask her her opinion, Ms. Rape. Because when I asked all the employees, everyone was an emphatic yes. There was not anybody who said, no, I don't want to do
Well,
this.
if you ask me, do you want a retirement program?
No, that's not what I asked them.
Okay,
I asked them if they wanted to participate in the TMRS system.
versus,
That wasn't the option.
I'm just saying,
Yeah,
would you like a retirement program or no retirement program? Well, the heck yeah, I want the retirement program. But when you say, well, do you want this program or this program or this program? The answer might be different, man.
well, first of all, we do not have the expertise within the city to make the determination on what retirement program is most suitable. You have to think long-term
Yes,
on
ma'am.
who is going to manage that, who's going to identify it, who's going to pick the investor that it's going to be working with. That's not in our realm of responsibility here. TMRS is built for this exact reason.
When I worked for the hospital district, we didn't have an option on what retirement program they offered, but we did have the option on whether we wanted to participate. But they just told us, okay, here's this 403C. If you want to participate, you
Right.
can participate.
Well, and
But so you did have the option to say, no, I don't want to do it, but the idea was, hey, do you want a retirement program? Hell yes, I want a retirement program.
Right.
And it's pre-tax, but so most people took them up on it,
Mhm.
but you did have the option of saying no.
well, you know, and again, unless somebody here is really gonna surprise me, we don't really have the expertise to select a commercial bank, but we did. And our commercial bank has investment experts
Mhm.
that will work with the city as to, you know, what kind of program we should offer. Again, with your 401k, most programs offer a range of different high risk, low
Mhm.
risk, medium
But what happens
risk.
if we change banks? Because we are supposed to be looking at that from time to time
Every
and
5
and
years.
soliciting
Every 5
bids.
years, you have to change
So then
banks.
we're gonna change our retirement plan too?
There's some good financial
No.
The 401
advisors. that are
401
out there.
program is completely
Companies.
affordable.
Well, you have to pay them too.
Yeah, they get
Yes.
1.5% management fee at least.
Mhm.
You have to pay them.
Yeah,
And
I think where
that
we're,
nobody at TMRS is coming to work without a paycheck either.
Oh, I know.
So,
no, I understand
they,
that. But
yeah,
so where we're at with this, what you're discussing is something that we discussed when we first had this conversation, but we've moved from there. The decision was made that the employees want to sign up for TMRS. Now that had been determined, the next step was at what contribution level did you want? And then the council needs to determine at what match rate we want to do. So the employees have spoken, and from the contribution, it was a majority of 5%. And so now we need to identify,
Term to vest,
we need to also define the match.
1-to-1.
That's my
Mayor,
recommendation. Yes, sir.
I don't remember having a motion or a proposal or a vote on the TMRS program at all.
I don't either.
I remember we have discussed it a couple times, but,
and put it off.
and
No, we
and
took
put
it-
it off.
I thought we did that when I was sitting on that side the last time.
Yeah, we were gonna go back to the
We took
employees.
a
That was the
vote.
deal, to go back to the employees. to
But we haven't gone back to the employees with
I
any
did.
options.
Yeah, I did.
What option?
5, 6, or 7%.
That's not the option I'm talking about. Did we offer them anything besides TMRS?
No, we did not.
Okay, that's fine. At the moment, they've said yes to TMRS, but I'd like them to consider and tell me directly. At the moment, I wouldn't vote for it, okay? I feel we're forcing.
I asked,
future-
the first question that was asked of them is, would you like to join TMRS? It was a unanimous, emphatic yes. So we asked the employees. Then the next question was, okay, now that the employees have decided that that's what they want to participate in, what level of participation contribution do you want to do? That was the bring back for this meeting.
I'm not gonna vote for it one way or the other.
I remembered those discussions and
And
asking,
this is from the November 9th, number 8, is about the TMRS. At the top.
Okay, so the presentation by Alderman Crickmer and Alderman Rapino regarding Texas Municipal Retirement System. TMRS City Services Manager Colin Davidson spoke about the retirement plan that was brought before the council. Mayor Ball shared that all employees were in favor of joining the system. It was decided that we would bring this back after council had a chance to pick which plan we would use. No action was taken. And it doesn't impact us sitting here. It's not, we're all,
How many employees do we have?
we have 1, 2, 3, we have 6 right now.
And they're going to make a decision for the next 20 years.
Well, I can tell you this, that every police officer that we interviewed, without exception, that was one of their questions. Do we offer TMRS?
Well, our police officers outnumber everybody else.
Well, they do, but my point is, they're probably the most consistent municipal employees that you would have. I'm just saying, more longer term, but you know,
You only have to be in your job for 5 years to qualify for retirement.
for vesting,
Yeah, for vesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're career men. I mean, that's a career they've chosen, okay? Very few people at the other jobs that we have.
okay, the difference is we are a governmental agency. What you're talking about really pertains more to commercial enterprises, not necessarily. The county has their own, it's not TMRS because they're not a municipality, they're a county. There's different retirement programs for different governmental entities.
The investment parameters or restrictions as a municipality are very strict from the course that I took, so we can't get crazy with investments. It's
Exactly.
very conservative and,
Yeah.
because we're a municipality.
Right.
And state law says that you can't do this, you can't do that, and you gotta do this and you gotta do that.
Yeah, and I covered with the TMRS people to make sure that since the city will be contributing to their program, that the investments that they make are all in accord with the Public Funds Investment Act. So that, because they can't be just putting the money that we give and the money that the employees give into the
It's
to
a pretty
the
conservative
fund. It has to
bunch.
be, it has to be in accordance with the Public Funds Investment Act, where we can't necessarily ensure that that would take place in a 401k or a 403c or whatever it is.
So,
Because-
Ms. Ortiz, we need to make a couple of different motions. One would be for the employee contribution rate. One would be for the city match. And the third would be for the the term for vesting, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, and then I look forward with those terms in an ordinance to come back to council.
Exactly, yeah.
I think the matching funds is fixed, is it not?
No,
Well, I'm sorry. You're right.
1 to 1, 1 to 1.5, or 1 to 2.
We want to match the least.
It
Because-
can be all in one motion, considering everyone agree, or not everyone, a majority agrees to the terms of
Right.
each component of that motion.
Okay, so
Okay.
like you could say the 5% at 1 to 1 for
I'll
a
make the
5 year.
motion, ma'am.
Right.
Oh, Lordy.
That's exactly it. That's what we want to say.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. And if that doesn't work, then
We can always
Tweak it.
bump it up.
exactly. Okay.
I move that we mandate a 5% investment with a 1 to 1 match in 5 years vested
And
TMRS.
And a 20-year
with
retirement,
TMRS.
I don't think we,
because it can be 25 years too.
with 20, well, he's making the motion, so.
Okay.
It's
I
10
thought
or
it-
20 years if you're under 65.
Yeah, I thought there was an age
and it's
component
5
to
or
that as
10
well.
If you're over 65, something like that.
I think it can be 25 years, 20 or 25 years too.
But I don't think we select that.
No.
God dang it.
we-
I don't think we select that.
We select when it's vested. We
Mhm.
select
Yes.
Yes,
the
Okay,
employee's
go.
contribution. We select what we
Wish I
match
brought
at.
my papers.
Right.
Okay,
yeah,
there's a 20-year retirement. Okay,
That's up to the,
or we can mandate 25 or the age. That's it. And we don't, that's in terms of the program. Our selection is percentage, match, and vested.
right. That's what I understood as well.
So I
Okay.
second Mr.
I'll second
Pullenger's.
that.
Hey, you're too slow.
Okay.
So we have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Fillinger and a second by Ms. Puente, Alderwoman Puente, to join the Texas Municipal Retirement System with a 5% employee contribution rate and a 1 to 1 match and 5-year vesting. Okay. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed?
Nay.
Nay is the word, not aye. Okay, the ayes have it.
Can you
Okay.
make a motion and oppose your motion?
Sure.
You can?
Yes,
Yes,
of course you
He
can.
wants to go
Okay.
home.
Okay, no, I would like to call for a short recess.
Yeah, we have a big one coming up here in just a moment, just really the last 2 items. So let's go ahead and take a recess. It is 8:23 PM. We will take a 15-minute recess and we will be back at that time. Thank you.
Okay.
I am so sorry. I forgot to turn this back on. We are back in session as of 8:37, and we are addressing item 8D on the agenda, which is related to an order adopting regulations for swimming pools and spas. Go ahead, Mayor Pro Tem, go ahead.
I didn't hear it say we're recording again.
That is recording, but I forgot to unmute the microphone.
Okay, thank you. I'll start over again then.
Okay.
Several people toured the city recently. Noticed a large number of swimming pools in front yards with no fencing. Drowning is the number 2 cause of infant accidental death. We have had to date 64 children drown in the state of Texas just this year. The state has guidelines and a new emphasis on preventing accidental drowning. And this ordinance addresses swimming pools need to be installed in a legal manner, and they need to meet safety criteria. I hope everybody has had an opportunity to peruse the ordinance, and yeah, I'm ready to discuss it if anybody needs to discuss.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Does this go, because a lot of the swimming pools that are probably out there are temporary? They're not meant for permanent fixture. Does this include those swimming pools?
Yes, it does.
It's considered a wading pool.
Right.
Well, yeah, you know, there are different definitions. There's a in-ground pool. There are permanent above-ground pools. And what you're talking about, let me see.
I think it's under section 2, item 6.
Above ground is section 6.
The non-permanent above ground pool is called an on-ground
Okay.
storable pool, where you can put it up, take it down, store it away. But yes, it applies to every swimming pool except for the kiddie wading
Waiting
pools.
pools, yeah.
It also addresses, you cannot legally put a pool up and just run an extension cord across
Oh,
your
yeah.
yard.
Yeah.
And that's not a new law that has always been in effect under the National Electric Code. It's an issue I think needs to be addressed.
Aren't there some blanks in that ordinance?
There are,
Yeah.
yeah.
There are.
Yeah.
It's related to the permit.
Just what does the permit entail? I mean,
Permit entails, you tell us you're gonna put in a swimming pool, you present a plan, and we will inspect the swimming pool when it's done, that it meets the requirements of the ordinance.
What about existing ones?
There's no grandfather clause in here. Everything that will have to be brought up to this code.
What does the inspection entail?
Adherence to the safety codes as identified here.
Adherence to these codes,
Mhm.
basically. On-ground swimming pools, on-ground storable swimming pools, on-ground permanent pools, in-ground permanent pools, need to be in the backyard, not in the front yard. Okay,
A wading pool can be in the front yard.
a wading pool, mama can put it out in the front yard, watch the kids. The requirement is you dump the water out,
At the end of
turn
the
the
day.
pool over so it doesn't fill with rain. All swimming pools need to be enclosed by a fence, not a livestock fence, but they need to be enclosed with a 48-inch fence. That fence, the gating needs to have self-latching gates that are approved for the purpose, so that the neighbor's kid doesn't come over in the middle of the night, climb your livestock fence, and
Mhm.
So what I'm getting at is most pools will have the same criteria for inspection. Is that correct?
that is correct.
Okay, so what I'm getting at, I noticed that each fee goes up based on the valuation of the pool. And if the inspection criteria is pretty much the same, it looks like it's a latent ad valorem tax based on the
No, sir.
valuation of the pool.
Uh,
I mean, I can't see the criteria of inspection being that much more
Yeah.
for each pool so that it would increase the value of the permit fee.
Well, it will be when you go into an in-ground pool,
Well,
there will be a series of inspections.
a series of inspections?
Yes. Because the pool and the enclosure will
Okay.
have to be inspected.
Oh, true.
And at that point, we will have to start hiring out some expertise.
So
The permit fees would go to cover the cost of the inspector.
I have a question, is a spa considered an above ground permanent or non-permanent?
Again,
Storable or,
you have permanent installations in ground, you have permanent installations above ground, and you have storable spas, portable spas. For the purpose of the ordinance, it doesn't much matter because they still need an enclosure if they're left with water in it.
if it's a portable spa,
if it's
does
a
the
portable
electrical have to be,
I'm sorry, sir, but yes, you need a permanent GFIC circuit to feed any outdoor equipment.
Okay.
Other than, portable power tools.
But you would not necessarily need fencing if you had a lockable hardcover.
That's true.
So the pool itself does not need its individual fencing. It can be in a proper gated backyard,
correct?
like a privacy fence going all the way around. They're good there. The only thing is that you said it's supposed to be self-locking
It has, yes, it has to be self-latches.
or self-latching, where it
Yeah.
automatically closes right behind
It
you.
closes behind you. It has
And it latches itself.
Yeah, it's like what's on the door there. It'll automatically close it.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What inspection?
Because that's gonna be, I'm trying to think, because I know several people who have pools already, and yes, they are behind fences, but as far as the self-latching, I think that's just, that's a overreach.
Well, that,
Kids shouldn't be.
But
letting
But
people
that's
that's
the,
one of the chief provisions of the law.
right.
Well, that's a
And
pretty easy
well, and
physical mechanical
technically-
thing that happens when you shut the gate.
Right.
The thing goes up and then down.
But I think one of the issues here is, even if it is in a backyard that is fenced, the pool itself has to be fenced. Because the kids are in the backyard playing.
Mhm.
They fall in the pool, nobody there, and they drown. It's the same thing. It's the pool itself has to be secured.
I don't think, it's not like that in San Antonio.
No, no, you can fence the entire back of the yard. As long
This
as,
is to keep the neighbor kids out.
yeah,
Your kids
if
can
you
drown.
have, if you have if you have an enclosure just at the pool,
Right.
you don't have to secure the rest of the backyard. But as Jennifer said, in other cities, if the backyard is secured, no, you don't need an additional fence.
If it's in ground, you do.
That's what I was thinking. Maybe
My
it's
friend
the
did that
in-ground.
one, and he doesn't have, it doesn't.
Now, for above ground
And
pools,
in-ground pool,
Mhm.
for above ground pools, I think the issue is the height, I mean, if it,
48 inches.
well, I mean, how are you got a little 3-year-old that can't even reach
48
halfway up. So
48 inches is equivalent to a 48-inch fence, as long as the steps access to it
is
are
locked.
correct.
Yeah, you have to prevent them from being able to get into the pool. So it doesn't have to be the whole pool surrounded, but the
yeah, actually,
access.
if you have a 48-inch deep pool, you can fill the deck around it in such a manner that that is an enclosure,
Okay,
as long as you have restricted access at the ladders.
Steps. There seems to be.
I think
some
we'll get a lot of
definitions.
pushback on the wading pool because a lot of people use them for their pets, for their dogs.
They need to
I
be,
do. I have a
the-
swimming pool where dogs get in and out.
Yeah,
But at the same time, I mean,
the ordinance is
it's
if
not like,
they're a wading pool, 18 inches deep or less in the front yard, they need to be drained
Drained
and
every
put
day.
away
yeah.
every
yeah,
night
that's
or
gonna
every day, when not in use. But I don't see any of that in here.
No, it
I
it
just
was
feel
in
like
here.
this is,
Filled with beer, they'd be.
we're
drunk every
penalizing
day.
the people that are citizens that have pools.
Hmm.
The bottom
Because
here,
of mom and dad
wading
can't keep
pools,
their
it
kids in their own yard.
Right.
talks about that.
Ma'am,
I mean, I totally,
I hear what you're saying.
I understand what you're saying about the electrical.
Yeah, that,
That's a big deal. Water and electricity don't go together. yeah. Yeah. Oh,
I thought you was in a hairdryer in the tub.
It's only illegal if you get caught.
Okay, any other discussion on this one?
Nope. What are we voting on here tonight? Anything?
Yes,
Yeah,
the ordinance.
the ordinance.
Well, if.
And then we have to put in,
Then
Well, we have blanks to fill in.
we,
There's blanks to fill in right here.
Yeah, on the 108.6, section B,
Yeah, for refunds.
100%.
I would say,
So on item 2, where it says not more than blank % of the permit fee paid when no work has been done under a permit issued in accordance with this code. Seems reasonable to be 100% if there
Right.
was no work done.
It sounds,
Well, if the plan has been reviewed, then there was work.
There was
to
work
review,
done, yeah.
So, more than-
it should be not less than.
so there shouldn't be any,
On two, shouldn't it say not less
there
than?
shouldn't be any.
Okay, somebody comes in and files for a permit and they come back in 2 weeks, say, I'm not gonna put in the pool.
What, but where it says percent of the plan review fee paid when an application for a permit for which a plan review fee has been paid is withdrawn or canceled before any plan review effort has been expended.
Oh, okay, then it should be 100%.
Yeah. But the point there is, if any work has been done, there's no refund at all.
Right.
Yeah, it should
Well-
say not less than.
And again, our
100%.
person reviewing can say, well, you know, I would
Get
agree
100%
that,
So it should be less than.
but if no
100%
work
of
has
the
been
permit
done
fee
on it,
returned,
other than
when
accepting
no
the
work is
permit,
done.
Yeah.
give them all
Make
their
sure.
money.
I agree.
I'm gonna say there's a,
So I, while considering it, I would make a motion that we amend 108.6 refunds, item 2. This says we've done the review, but they've not actually done any work. We've made no inspections. I would say not more than 75% of the permit fee would be refunded.
not less than, wouldn't it be?
No, sir.
It says not more than blank percent.
Okay, I'm saying if we started the review process, they come back, want to cancel the permit,
Right,
we do not give them more than 75% of their permit fee back,
okay.
okay?
So is there some leeway in there? I mean, if you're saying not more than, if we could give them less?
If you actually read item 108.6, the reviewing officer makes that determination. But the maximum you would get
Okay.
back is 75%. If he says, well, you know, I've done 100% of the review, he may say no refund. But he reviewed the plan, but he's made no inspections. I would expect 50 to 75% refund rate.
Okay, so we have a motion from Mayor Pro Tem Fillinger to fill in the blank under section B. Let me get back to the first page, make sure I do this right. Sorry, section 2, paragraph B, item 3, where it says 108.6 refunds, item 2 under that paragraph would read not more than 75%. Do we have a second on that one?
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Fillinger and a second by Alderman Crickmer to complete that entry at 75%. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that was unanimous. Okay, so now we'll move on to the second one, item 3 in that same section. go ahead and continue your discussion if you choose.
My recommendation would be not more than 90% of the plan review fee paid when an application for a permit for which a plan review fee has been paid is withdrawn or canceled before any plan review effort has been expanded. That's not a percentage of the permit fee. That the plan review is a separate.
Got it. The first one was the permit fee. This is a plan review fee.
Yes. In most cases, we're not going to have a plan review fee. But if you look at the $50,000 plus in-ground swimming pool, we will have a swimming pool inspector review the plans that, yes, this will work in Sandy Oaks. If they cancel their permit prior to him being involved, then all we have is the paperwork handling with the expert. So I would say under that condition, we could refund 95% of the plan
95?
review,
90 or 95?
95.
Okay. All right, so you're gonna make a motion?
That is a motion. I move that we fill in the blank at 95%.
Okay. Is there a second?
A second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Fillinger and a second by Alderman Crickmer to fill in the blank under item 3 in that paragraph to be 95%. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that is unanimous. Okay, so now we can move on to the overall.
I want to make a motion
Yes, sir.
that we adopt ordinance number 2021-191. Ordinance of City Council for adopting regulations for swimming pools and spas, providing for enforcement, providing a penalty clause, providing a severability clause, providing a repealer clause, providing for conflicts of other law, providing for publication, and providing for an effective date as amended.
Is there a second?
I'd like to amend that.
You want to
Okay.
amend that?
I want to amend the main motion.
I withdraw it.
You don't have to withdraw. We can talk about amendment and pass the amendment.
Okay.
I'd like to amend that motion and direct the city clerk to purchase and maintain a copy of the 2021 International Swimming Pool and Spa Code.
That's a good idea.
Could I get a point of clarification?
Sir,
If a person has, say, a above ground pool, how high is that television? About 4 feet,
okay, yes,
roughly a 4-foot big pool above ground, and has had it there for a few years. You say there's no grandfathering.
Mhm.
They would have to move that if it's in the front yard
Yes.
to the backyard.
that's correct, sir.
Okay, I just wanted a clarification of that.
Yes. Okay,
Do we need a second or do I need to?
I need a second.
Need a second on the amendment. And
I'll
then a
second
second on
both.
the primary.
I'll second both.
I'm confused now.
Yeah, well, I mean, now,
So you can't second both. We have to,
Chinese.
we have to approve the amendment and then approve the main motion.
I approve,
I'll second his and then I'll.
Why doesn't he
If we
just
approve
rescind
it.
his and
It's a
redo
whole
it?
lot easier if you just.
I think so. I could withdraw mine and
Thank
we
you.
can start over again.
Okay, let's do that.
Go ahead, Charles.
Well, in that case, I withdraw my motion to amend.
Okay, so now,
Why?
no, because we've set
'Cause
back
you're
to,
gonna
we're
make
back on
yours
a,
again.
you're gonna start and you're gonna include the additional.
I can't remember.
To have
Come on.
me order the,
I'm the clown, remember?
Yeah.
An ordinance, okay, I'm gonna propose
Propose that ordinance and you're gonna
ordinance two
include
oh two one
the-
191, an ordinance of the city council of the city of Sandy Oaks, Texas, adopting regulations for swimming pools and spas, providing for enforcement, providing a penalty clause, providing a severability clause, providing repealer clause, providing conflicts of other law, providing for publications, and providing for an effective date, and authorizing the city clerk to keep a copy of,
To order and maintain.
order and maintain a copy of the 2021 swimming pool and spa code as amended.
I'll second.
Is that right?
You were good until those last two words.
We already,
We don't need to amend.
We don't
it.
need to amend
he
it.
was
We
talking
don't?
about the changes that we made in the.
Oh.
Oh,
yeah.
yes, yes,
You
yes.
as
do.
amended.
Okay.
That was a great motion.
That was excellent.
I would be proud to second that motion.
I already seconded it.
Okay,
I'm glad you're here.
okay. We have a motion by Alderman Crickmer and a second by Alderman Rapino to approve ordinance 2021-191 as amended. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that is
I'm
unanimous.
opposed.
Did you oppose it?
Yeah.
Okay, so the vote is 4-1. Okay. But it still passes. Okay. All right, that was fun. Let's see what else we got to do here. Let's go to item 8E.
Okay.
Discuss and or possible action on the purchase and installation of an electrically operated gate for the municipal complex. And this was brought by Mayor Pro Tem Fillinger and Alderman Crickmer. So I'll turn it over to you, gentlemen.
Okay, I got two bids here. I spoke with two other gate companies that weren't interested in coming out this far south.
Get out of here.
One bid is
We don't want to
from Quality Fence.com, saqualityfence.com. Do you all have a copy of that? It's a
Yep.
mechanical gate. 26-foot wide, 6-foot tall. Angle iron. There is the gate operator is remote operated, key operated. And
A keypad.
a keypad, that would be the remote, I think. I don't see the horsepower on the motor. Okay, so the labor and the iron comes to $9,632.81. And the mechanical operator comes to $6,923.75 for a total of $16,556.56 for Quality SA Fence, SA Quality Fence. The other estimate I got was from
Hey, man.
Heyman Handyman. And the total on that was $11,758.86.
Which was an estimate, not a.
But my impression was he didn't quite understand what we wanted, and he didn't quite meet our needs with what he proposed. So my choice would be saqualityfence.com. And the man said he could get started within a couple of weeks, whenever we were ready.
What was the grand total on that one again?
$16,556.56. And I would propose that we accept the bid from Quality Fence and Welding for not more than $17,000.
Got a motion?
Motion, I'm sorry, I make a motion that we propose, that we accept the proposal from Quality Fence and Welding of San Antonio for not more than $17,000 for the gate and the mechanical apparatus.
I'll second.
Okay, so before we vote on that, I would like to ask a question.
Okay,
How long is this quote good for?
he said it's good for, he said the price is, he originally talked to me, was it in August?
Back in July.
July.
Mhm.
And he said the price was still good. And I forgot to pull up his email. Did I forward that to you?
It's
anybody?
Yeah, this week he
www.qualityfence.com.
acknowledged this was a good price.
Okay,
I'd like to make one other comment. The Quality Fence and Welding includes a concrete beam 56 feet long
for the gate to travel
for
on.
the gate to travel on and an angle iron for it to travel on. The other bid includes no concrete beam,
Right,
just some big old tires,
tires, yeah.
which means the first time it rains and the gate operates, it's going to be buried.
Mhm.
The quality fence was a lot more detailed in what he was going to provide. I'm with John. I would recommend in this case, we accept the higher priced proposal as the best value for the city.
And I do have a question. There is an electrical component that also needs to be addressed related to this.
Yes, we approved the installation of the electrical service a few weeks back.
Mhm.
I do not have a firm price from CPS for the cabling from the existing transformer to the new service. The only charges for the cable itself, I would expect far below $1,000 for that.
Okay,
We need to get on to electrical service.
Sir, let's talk.
yeah,
about
let's do
that.
this first. Okay,
Do
so,
we have a $17,000 problem?
Yes,
yeah, we do.
yes.
Well, you need to think about this. The officers here in the building, they get a call. It's an emergency call. They gotta go. He's gotta run out to the gate. He's gotta do the code or the combo lock, open the gate, get back in his car and go. He's delayed. So that's issue one. Issue two is at night, when we have our officers out at night, they pull up to that gate. They have to get out of their vehicle. The only light there is the ANSI light that we had installed a couple months ago. And there was an unintended consequence of that. Now, when you're standing there, yeah, you can see perfectly to unlock the gate. But what happened is now you are night blinded beyond that. You don't know who's in there. So it's a safety situation for our mostly police officers, but also our employees in general.
Oh, wait a minute. During the day, the gate's open.
Yes,
Okay, so we're talking about only needing it at night.
and on holidays and on weekends
Okay.
Yeah,
Have we had any examples
of,
of where a policeman, which is
Yes.
rare at night?
They said they
Anyway,
were all gonna quit if we didn't get one.
say what?
They said they were all gonna quit if we didn't get an election.
No.
in today's world-
No, but it has been it's been a concern expressed from the officers on their safety, having to stand out there at night.
If they have a
To-
prisoner,
Exactly, if they
if
have
it's
somebody in
raining.
custody, if it's raining, all those
Plus,
things.
they're sitting ducks under that light.
Yeah,
And it's budgeted for.
Is that gonna be paid out of the money you got?
No,
Oh, okay.
no, it was budgeted for.
I still don't see a need for it, but okay.
Do you want to
Do you
come
want
down
to
and
be the
open
guy,
the gate?
the gate guy? We could put in a shack for you.
Oh, what?
You want to be the gate guy? We'll put a shack in for you.
No. I mean, it was
Well,
that
there's
that
a-
way
there's
when they hired in, why are they
No, no, no,
complaining
no,
now?
They were
because
hired
it was
in at the other
unintended,
place.
there's things that we didn't think about when we first were putting all this together. That was one of them. We put lights there because they needed lights to be able to see. Well, that created another potential hazard. But it is also a more professional look. You know, we're playing in the big league now. Believe it or not, we are.
Did we vote on this yet?
No, we have
I
not.
didn't think so.
Hang on. So we have a motion by Alderman Crickmer and a second by Alderman Rapino to accept the quote provided.
Oh, you
Got it.
killed them.
Got him.
Not to. exceed.
Not to, the quote, sorry, I should say from whom? From Quality Fence and Welding for a cost not to exceed $17,000. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No one's opposed, so it was unanimous.
Bring the-
Are you opposed?
Are you opposed or are you for?
Can I abstain?
You may abstain.
I abstain.
Okay, so that was 4-1, and that is Brooke and abstain. Okay,
Got a few
Okay.
Questions on here, eh?
so with that,
we are.
it is 9:15 and we are adjourning the meeting, and thank you, everyone, and have a great evening.
Bond them.
If I had to look.